I'd like to acknowledge the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation who are the traditional custodians of the land which we gather, work, live, and meet today. I'm a proud Darug and Wulguru Kappa woman who takes pride in my culture. As I acknowledge country, I pay my respect to elders past, present, and emerging. As I conduct these interviews, I recognise and respect the stories and opinions of the elders who are members and survivors of the stolen generation. Can you please state your name, please, Uncle?
I'm going to ask you, first of all, mine-wise, your name?
Georgia Farrell.
George.
Georgia.
Georgia.
Yes.
Oh, they're beautiful, right? Yeah. Georgia, my names are James Michael Whitty Wiltshire, number 36. As we go through this journey at the moment, it's understood that I am 73 years of age now. So those names are part of the journey of whom and the person sitting there in front of you. And so I don't pick a name out. I let other people pick out the names. Yeah.
And can you acknowledge what tribe you're from, please?
Yeah. Learning, just to point out something that's important there. Learning now, after we got taken away and given back to my mother by a doctor, my people are Whalewin people, and we, of the Whalewin people of my land where I come from, we are the protectors of the black duck. That's our totem.
Fully. And would you like to speak about your experience of the stolen generation, if that's okay with you?
Have you got a couple of years or what?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, look, thank you, man, and given the opportunity, because what I will mention is, first of all and foremost here now, you help me to heal while I'm talking to you, because one of the things in that silent world we lived in with trauma, I realised that pain was killing me from inside out. So now when I talk about it, I know that if we talk about it, we heal ourselves a little bit better each time we talk about it. And if we don't talk about it, it it was slowly killing me from inside out. And that's a fact that I know. I don't need proof of anything. It's my journey. That's what's happened. So I'm one of 8 children that was taken away from my mother. No, sorry, not 8. I always get on that. There's myself, Barry, my older brother, myself, my sister, 2 brothers, 7 of us, and twins. 7 of us taken away from my mother, and we were separated at Central Station. They got me and my brother, older brother, went to the place that they call Kinchela Boys Home. Home it never was. It was a very evil place. We'll touch on that a little bit later on. And eventually got to meet my other brothers and sisters over a period of different times, 10 years, 15, 20 years, and never to be the same because of the programming that they placed us in. Yeah, the program that they place us in, but I call it, it's not brainwashing, I believe it is brainwashing, but it's programmed us to be slaves for the colonised world, and we didn't know about that as being old. I was 8 years of age, but before they took us away from my mother and my grandfather and auntie and uncles who lived around in the little camp we used to have, Pop used to play the violin, Mum played the piano, Claudine, and Auntie played the bones and Uncle played the gum leaves, and we danced around the campfire at night time. I'm 8 years of age and I remember this very clearly, and watching it, and that was a beautiful time. And then they...
Take your time, Uncle.
It's all right. I've been doing this for, I can't think of it, well over 20 years, but it doesn't go away. But the more we talk about it, the more we get it done, and hopefully that the future will be able to bring a journey of a better place for children to come. But we danced around, and our people used to talk about the stars, beautiful, and what the weather was going to be like in 2 days' time, 2 months' time. It was all been told by the stories of the stars, and like I said, Auntie played the bones, and Uncle played the gum leaves, and all that music was a really beautiful thing. And we'd dance around the campfires, until the day that they come and took us. I've sort of blacked a lot of that out, but clearly remember going down to the railway station. I know that Mum bought us some new clothes and put on, wore those, and it wasn't the first time I was on a train ride, so it was one of those things that I'd had an operation on my ear a year or two before that, so I'd been on the train, so I was sort of comforting me other brothers. One was 2, the other one was 4, and the sister was 5, I was 8, and my older brother, he was 10. The twins didn't come with us there then at the time. They'd shifted them later on. So we had the train ride down to Central, and we tried the best we can just to make the other brothers and sisters happy by talking about the animals that we've seen and as the night went by. But when we got there, they took us from there to separate us. Me and my brother, we went on the train from Central up to Kempsey. And up to Kempsey, some people met us at the station and took us to the place that they call Kinchela Boys Home. And like I said, the word home always gets stuck. It was never home, it was a evil place. When we walked through those gates of Kinchela, we knew, at the moment, that was the end of that. That was the end of whatever sort of a life that we had or was having, because we were capable, of a weekend. My mum would say to me, well, son, go and have a game, play, go follow with your brother. And I would go. I could yam hunt, I could honey hunt, I could catch yabbies, I could catch fish, I could feed myself at the age of 8 years of age. I knew the land, I knew where all the little fields were, where the berries was, and where the yams and the grass that you could pluck and eat. I knew that. But that didn't matter in that sense. Got to Kinchela, and it was a beginning of a time that, luckily, we were only there for about 5.5 years. Like some of the brothers who, had, most of their life there, 10, 14, 15 years. But we were then given back to Mum's older sister. We weren't allowed to go into the town. I didn't know that at the time when we got back, because at that time, 5.5 years off her 8, well, that's 13, almost 14 years of age, I think, if I calculate them properly. And did go to Coonamble School again for a little while, but correspondence was one of those things that was a little bit out on the property, 35 miles out on the property. And I didn't know then, but my uncle, who had us, he wouldn't let us call him Dad. He was always going to be Uncle and Auntie. He was a very good worker, so he was told by the police that he not allowed to bring us into the town or where the other community was. We had to be kept on the property. On some occasions, he would take us into the town. We'd go down to Tin Town, what they call in Coonamble, where they made up the place where the Aboriginal people were allowed to live, in tin huts, or whatever, bark huts, whatever sort of hut they make. And that, years later, he told us and told me, because I stayed with him for up until about 18 years of age, and before I fell in love with an Aboriginal girl and moved on and married her after I was given back to my mother by a doctor. But they used to bash him. The police used to take him and bash him in the days that we'd take him in. He'd take us in there. We didn't know, of course, children. But he'd come back quiet and silent. He was about 15 stone. He's a hacksman. Beautiful big worker, lovely big man. Him and Auntie, Tam. So we'd go back out in the bush where it was for whatever amount of time, back in, that type of thing. So that was the life in the journey that I'd run, in the way that I'd run. Kinchela was trying to describe it, it's just unbelievable. We got punished, we got flogged, we got starved, we got sexually abused. I told the manager when it happened to me, and he flogged me for it. And then I think, I was about 9 years of age. So that, who am I going to tell? When anything happens. So because when they flogged you, they flog you with a switch or a stick or a cane thing, whatever it was. Sometimes you couldn't sit down on your bum for a few days because that's where they targeted. But it's difficult to try and explain that. But the journey of being removed from my family is something that it's an ongoing issue, big time today, that even my own children, my eldest son, who's about to turn, I think about 52 or 53 now, he was taken. There was a pillow put there so that his mother, the one that I married later, wasn't able to see him, and they took him. And what happened when we got back into our communities, we didn't fit in. This is one of the parts of the trauma, and this is one of the parts why I'm here with Kinchela today. I was a welder for 30 odd years and done everything else, fencing, cattle branding, sheep branding, mules, and all the jobs that we could get as being young Aboriginal men. It was the only time that we could get a job, was all the stuff that the other people didn't want to do. So in that journey there, with those years, we didn't fit into a community because we didn't speak the same anymore. We didn't act the same. Sorry. The easiest way to explain that was that we wanted to be. We were happy to be home back in the town. I was become of age. I turned to alcohol as soon as I got old enough to start drinking and going in the pub, because I didn't know what was happening up here. So I didn't know why people wouldn't talk to us and didn't talk to us. You can see when you look into somebody's eyes you can see what their heart's bringing out. It's for whatever reason, and when we talk to these people, be it Aboriginal people or non-Indigenous people, you could see it. There was something about their eyes was telling you that I thought they didn't like me as they're talking, but I didn't realise I didn't talk the same as my people. And we weren't allowed to speak our language anyhow, because when we got taken, the language was all gone. And even before I got taken, our people weren't allowed to speak the language. I got a piece of paper, I laminated it when I went to the government house for the Aboriginal Kinchela Boys organisation. That piece of paper that I laminated said on the 2017, on the 11th of October, I was given the right to own and speak my own language. Before 2017, in 2016, it was illegal in New South Wales for Aboriginal people to speak their language. And this is something that only just starting to come out in the truth teller. So that's something that, you know, we want to record and get that out. That's why I laminated it, so that I show it to people when I go, yeah, this is it. They said, what? We could talk our language. I said, yes, you are allowed to speak your language. You know, my friends I've had, Lebanese, Maltese, you know, Chinese, Japanese, they could, but we weren't allowed. The simple fact is that, yeah. They could either flog you, search you, do whatever they wanted to you if you were speaking your language. I know it's a little bit broad when we come to taking the children away, but this neglect of things that they talk and policies that they use about that is such a big lie, because, you know, when they mustered our people up after the massacres and all that and put us on those places that they call missions, they weren't missions, they were concentration camps. You know? When they went inside those gates of that place, they were told that they were no longer to speak their language, that they were told that they're no longer to hunt and eat the foods that they eat, that they would be fed by the manager of that, what they call mission. And if you look it up on the website and those type of things, you'll find that some of the managers, even some of the station owners, would put strychnine and cyanide and all that stuff in the flour and give it to our people to kill them. You know, there's no other reason why they did it. It wouldn't make them sick, it'd just end their lives. So that went on. You know, as a people, we weren't even allowed to be registered on the government until 1967, I think it was, when they did. So anyhow, so that's where that part goes, and that's why, as Kinchela, we are the organisation, is that we're trying to change that, to turn that around, that the thousands of children that are in out-of-home care right now is something that we still can't understand, you know. Why they keep on doing this, you know, be it Aboriginal or non-Aboriginal people, it still breaks the communities, because families, when their children are taken away, the families become broken. So when the government's saying they want to heal communities, that's bullshit, you know, pardon my French. But because the fact is, if they're taking children away, they're breaking the family structure. And if you break family structure, somebody's got to be angry, somebody's got to be hurt. So it kicks in to that it just keeps on going on over it. And if they spent this time and money that they got to rebuilding the family structure, it'll take a couple of generations, maybe 3 generations if we're lucky, but it'll break that cycle of intergenerational trauma. And I thought the word, what they talk about, trauma, it's not a word, it's a disease, I believe, of my brain, that they programmed it to do it that way. And assimilation is something that, in the policies that they make about our people, was 3.4% of the population, I think. So if you go to 3.4% of the population, that means that there's 96 point something of the other population. When you hear people talking about treaty, constitutional change, voice in parliament, that ain't going to make any difference to the way that we as a people are treated, because we're only that amount, such a tiny amount. So we haven't got all vote yes to whatever it is, treaty, whatever they're going to call it. When you talk about treaty, which treaty? Are you talking about a Whalen Treaty, Gamilaroi Treaty, Wongobong Treaty, a Wiradjuri Treaty? Yeah, and it doesn't matter which what they do, is because the truth about us has never been told. The truth about the policies. I will add this in here. When they sailed in on that boat, they brought two things with them. That's very powerful. Those two things that they brought with them was own and control. We had two things going for our families, people, for years. Those two things was love and share. Farmers, we were the best farmers in the world. We didn't have to rip the ground up, rip the trees down, cut the trees down, all of that, did it? We could feed ourselves without doing that. Thank you.
And do you share any of these experiences with your family or friends, or are they too traumatic to relive?
This is emotionally, we're getting there. I'm getting there. And it took them, you can imagine, I have now that's got 59 that has my intergenerational trauma running through their bloodline. Now, I understand now that it's very important for myself, and where you are doing a beautiful job here at this moment, to record this so that this can be listened to other children, be it Aboriginal, be it non-Aboriginal, it's children in general. They have the right to have a better understanding about their inner pain that they carry, and they do carry the inner pain. It's because I will point this out, and I'll do it to everybody else, that yourself, you're a better model of your mother and father. And my children, they are a better model of me and their mother. Now, why I say that is nature does that. Nature builds things to be better, not second best. I know nature sometimes may fall down and make little mishaps or something in the birth of it, and the way that the child will come out and they're not quite as normal in little things, they can't do certain things, but that's only a very minor percentage. The majority of them. The trees. We were never given the right to ask a question, to make a decision, or allowed to do anything. It was always under the control, and you're seeing it here now with me. I can't turn the phone off because if something happens to me, children, I'll blame me because I didn't answer the phone. But you can imagine this technology the other day. We can talk to people hundreds of miles away, thousands of miles away. And yeah, I do this at some of the meetings. Some of the meetings I'll pull this out and I'll say to the people that's an audience, be it teachers, judges, lawyers, police, students, and I'll say, one of the biggest competitions we've got is this, in this modern day world where we're trying to, handle the issues of traumas of the past. So this is one of the things, right? And but you need them. But at the same time, it's dangerous. The children and the people who don't know how to use them. And I got a 7-year-old who loves playing with the thing. Comes up until pop, he'll press it and fix it up for me, But that's where it goes. The other thing is that I say to them, I said, when you go home tonight, you're going to turn that thing on, I say to the crowd, I say, what do you call it? TV. Yeah, TV. That's what the majority of them say, TV. Some of them, then all of a sudden I say, yeah, some of them call it an idiot box.
Oh.
Yeah. But the truth of the matter, it's a television. Hungry Jack's, Macca's, Kentucky Fried, what to eat, how to dress, what petrol to buy, what car to buy, what woman to marry, what man to marry. That tells you all that. It's on that screen that, sitting there and watch it. And I was one of the great sinners of that, because I'll go back, and this is what I've learned now, and what I'm talking to you is, it's a given gift that I've lived long enough to be able to talk this talk out, to hopefully for somebody to understand when they come along. My big sin was that when my mother, the missus, wanted to go to the housing at the Bankstown when we was living in Greenacre, so I'd be babysitting. So the first thing I'd do was I'd get the bottle, make a bottle for the baby and bring it around, put him in the pram, put him in front of the television, and then I'd plug a game in. I'd put Lion King in there, turn it on, and I would go and do whatever I want to do. There's what you know. And now, when I'm looking back at it, I'm thinking, holy hell, look how bloody fair dinkum. So because when he was crawling around on the floor, he'd go, arr, arr. Yeah. Where did he get that from?
The Lion King.
and this is what happens. So what's on there, it doesn't matter. That's a fact. That this is something that needs to be brought out, needs to be talked about. And, mums and dads, bless them. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with any of them. But the fact is, the competition that's out there, that belongs to a rich man.
Yeah. And if you could embrace your younger self and give words of compassion and strength, what would it be?
Don't make judgment of people or anybody, don't make judgment. Accept the fact is that you got a choice to be part of it or not to be part of it. And that's your right. I call it God-given right, the human right, the nature's right. It's a right that we're all blessed and supposed to have. At the moment, we as a people don't have those rights just at this moment, because those rights were taken away from us. But to survive, we need to be able to accept it, move along it. My own journey of trauma, anger, pain, it took a long while, but I managed to get to the point where now, what I can't understand is all my children and grandchildren, they love me. Oh, we love you, Pop. They're thinking, oh, yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah.
And if you are comfortable with sharing, is there anything else you'd like to share in regards to your experiences, the stolen generations, or First Nations children in out-of-home care?
Please, when it comes to taking children away from their family, always remember that those children in 15 years' time, 20 years' time is going to feel the same pain that I'm feeling inside of me. Right? There is no way around that. The fact is that when you was in your mum's belly, right? Mum and dad slept, you're in mum's belly. When you're in mum's belly, you fought all those others in there to be the one to be born, right? Now, you fought that to be born. Now, when you were born, and before you were born, you were in mum's belly. You felt your mother's love, you felt your mother's pain. You got your father's bloodline running through you. So you could pop out into this world for the first time. You got three things in your favour when you pop out. Do you want to have a guess at what they are? That's all right, I don't want to tell you. That's the sense of touch, right? Because you're right, you can't see. When your eyesight comes, oh, that's what that is. That's mum cuddling me or dad cuddling me. So this fella up here had been working in here, it's out now. Now, and that sense of touch and the sense of smell. Oh, mum cooking. That's mum cooking. You smell it because your eyes now can see it. And it's recording all this in here. And oh, yeah, oh, Dad's smoking. That's him smoking. That's what the smoke is. Yeah? That's the two. The other, yeah. Hearing, sense of hearing. In my case, it wasn't mum and him arguing. It was Pop playing the violin and Auntie and the gum leaves and that. I got a little ukulele out there I played. I played it at the Opera House a couple of times. Right? Now, nobody taught me, but that was given to me through the bloodline and the vision. So this is what's happened to us as we go. So when you take that child away, where does that go? What happens then? Right? Is they see a different thing, they feel the different things, and all of this, it becomes confusion. So as a child, do what you bloody tell, get around here, get dressed, come here, do your lacer. All of those things, it's not a love gesture of going through as a parent, you know. Of course, some people will say that, yeah, but I say them belt their kids. Yeah, where did they learn that from? Right.
Yeah.
So there's an intergenerational, it goes back. Go back to where it is, but don't blame anybody. Stop it now and be thankful that you have the chance to be able to, development's not the word, but be part of a process of making a better purpose of life.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for sitting down and sharing, your life with me today, Uncle. It's very much appreciated. So thank you.
And thank you for giving me the chance to help myself heal more. And that's it.